Broncos set for UK move. A Bronco is set for a UK move after falling out of favour in hooker logjam. We knew this was going to happen, Brian. Peter Bedell reports through News Corp. Broncos hooker. Who's the one? Who's the one to go? It happens to be Tyson Smoothie.
Oh, the blender's gone.
Tyson Smoothie will reportedly leave the club at the end of the season after agreeing to terms on a 3-year deal with Wakefield to join the Super League from 2026 until the end of 2028. I agree with Jimmy, who spoke about this earlier. I would get him to go now. Free up some dosh.
When's he going? Oh, end of
the year.
Yeah, they've got too many hookers. I mean, it's saying you got too many hookers. Sometimes that could be meant in something more positive. But they've clearly he's getting a good deal, like good money.
Yeah. I'm surprised.
But he wouldn't be on much.
You don't think so?
Nah.
3? Less?
Nah, less.
Okay.
After I told you about that winger that I spoke to, remember how I told you that figure?
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't believe that.
I couldn't believe that.
I could not believe that. Billy Walters has been Brisbane's first choice for the past 2 years. Corey Pakes is having a good off-season. And then you've got Blake Mozer, who, by the way, has injured himself. Now, they've also got a young 19-year-old gun, Cameron Bukowski. He's coming through. And you've got Ben Hunt there when Ezra comes back. Of course, Ben Hunt can go to number 9, so they are absolutely loaded with number 9s. But they do lose 2 because they're losing at the end of the year Tyson Smooth. And now that you say that he's not on much, Brian, maybe you do need to keep him because you've already spent a third of his contract.
Yeah, it's not worth.
Maybe not worth it. But Blake Mozer, I was hearing he was the number 1 seed for the number 9. The Broncos can provide an update of an injury sustained by Blake Mozer. Broncos head of performance Dave Ballard said Blake has had scans after picking up a shoulder injury last week. He'll begin a rehab program this week and will be involved in non-contact sessions for at least a month. We don't expect him to be available for round 1. Our rehab staff will monitor his progress closely. So, unfortunate news for Blake Mozer, who I believe was having a terrific off-season, Brian.
Yeah, well, we saw him. There was patches of his brilliance.
Yep.
They were saying he was the next Cameron Smith. I think that's a bit of a stretch, but you got to live up to sometimes your potential. I thought that when he was playing first grade, he looked like he'd handle it. He looked a bit little to me, a bit slight.
Okay.
So when you say he's had a big off-season, he's obviously been throwing some tin around.
Well, we've seen that with the Brayley boys and others coming through. Like that first sort of year, they're a bit light on, have that first big off-season. The NRL could stop rewarding players for breaking contracts. Adrian Brzezinski, who was on with Jimmy before, via the Sydney Morning Herald, the NRL is considering preventing players who break their contracts, fans are going to love this, by the way, from earning more money with a rival club. We've raised this before.
Yeah, raises.
If you want to get out of there, go, but you can't benefit. If you were set to earn X amount over a certain period, you shouldn't be able to get any more than that.
Put amounts to it so we can do it.
The idea of capping contracts for want-away stars was first flagged 5 years ago, and now the Australian Rugby League Commission will revisit the issue. It's a no-brainer, absolute no-brainer. Brzezinski was on Arvos with Jimmy, and he gave an update on Frankie Molo as well. His release situation at the Dragons. What's Pepe Le Pewing? Adrian Brzezinski, tell us more.
I guess what prompted this was the Francis Molo situation at the Dragons, where he has had an interaction. This is coming from his side of the story.
Yep.
He had an interaction with a staffer and he's taken offence to it. And as a result, he feels that he's not in a position to come back and train, as he's contractually obligated. He's on leave at the moment.
Right.
He has requested a release. At this point, it has been denied.
Okay, there you go, Brian. So, it's interesting to see how this plays out. It's been denied. He is certainly not happy about everything. Can I just...
I don't know.
While the NRL are toying with this, can I give you this one? Because I keep saying this, it's a loophole that the clubs are going to benefit from. So what's happened with Christian Welsh is that he'll be getting that medical retirement. People are saying he'll get 400 because he's been paid a third of the contract.
Yes.
Which means today, if the Melbourne Storm wanted to spend his money, they could get an equivalent player worth 600,000.
Because he's only been paid 200.
That's right.
Yep.
They could get an equivalent player.
Yeah.
However, if the Melbourne Storm are smart and wait just a couple more months, now it's halfway into the year.
Let's have a look around.
So you could now get a player who's now worth 800,000.
Yes, good shopping.
Are you with me?
Don't know whether there's many 800,000 front rowers out there who are not happy at their club.
Yeah, but when you get deeper into the year,
you could say, right.
When you get deeper into the year, and then remember the Pangai situation at Penrith?
Yeah, that was a joke.
If you've got a player leaving a club and a team's out of the mix, you might say, hey, champ,
well,
you want to come and win a comp?
What about this? This has just hit my desk.
Yep.
Hey, boys, while I was doing a delivery to the Dolphins NRL office today, I saw a guy who looked very, very, extremely like Tom Hazelton going upstairs to the office I was leaving. That's from Joel. Good intel, Joel.
Wow.
Did
Good
he
work,
have his,
Jolie boy.
okay, the only way to confirm this was his head taped. Did he have tape around his ears? If it was, I'd say it's Tommy.
Kalyn Ponga was on Breakfast with Vossi and Brandy this morning, and we spoke to him about how important it is for him to represent in the All-Star game, of which SEN are covering the men and the boys. The coverage starts on the men and the girls. That is, starts on 5 o'clock Saturday afternoon. So you'll catch that through the SEN airwaves. But here's Kalyn Ponga this morning with Vossi and Brandy.
Yeah, I think it's one thing to represent your club, to represent a country, but to represent your people, that's just a different story. It's different. For me, it's a chance to, like I say, represent my people, my family, go out on that field with the Ponga name on my back. I know there's going to be hundreds, thousands of little Māori or Indigenous kids that are, probably definitely aspire to be in our shoes. And for some, it might seem like a dream too far away, but when they watch this game, it's sort of in reach for them.
There you go, Brian Kalyn Ponga, and we're already getting texts around. I mean, it's completely up to him, his decision, but people are saying, well, why is he playing for the Māori side, but he's not playing for Australia? He made himself unavailable. I think it's very different circumstances.
Very different. He'd just come back from an injury. And he
Yeah.
was, at the time, he said he just wanted to concentrate on the Knights. This is a one game. Like, he's away from he's away from the Knights for 4 days.
That's
3
right.
days.
That's
Totally
right.
different. But then remember, he did backflip, and I think Mal had the shits with him.
And he said, too late, champ.
Yeah.
Shark CEO, this was a good chat, by the way. Dino Mezzatessa was on this morning with Matty White, and he spoke about the delay in the Leagues Club being finished. So it's starting to agitate a few people, but he answered this pretty well, Dino. Here he is.
Since 2019, it's been closed. It was meant to have been operational and up and running in February 2022. Here we are in February 2025, and I still don't have a clear direction and answer to be able to give our members and fans of when we're going to open this club, and that's really disappointing. We're trying so hard to work with the developer, and it's very simple. The developer just needs to give us back our club lot so that we can then commence the fit out and build our club. Now, it sounds simple, but in giving back our club lot, we need some things done.
Okay.
Passive-aggressive?
Oh, aggressive.
COVID was an issue.
Yeah.
COVID was an issue with him.
So how do you read that? He wants the developer to give back.
Well, he's been quite honest there. He says, I don't know.
Yeah.
I do read it that they're obviously blueing with him.
Geez, that's a lot of money sitting there, isn't it? 2019. They do have, look, there's a Woolworths and there's a shopping centre there now.
Dan Murphy's.
There's all that. Yep.
So they want to sell the corporate boxes, do they? Is that
Yeah.
Is that where they make
the crowd's limited to 11,000.
Yeah. So what is capacity going to be down there?
Well, okay, they should be on top of this because they're probably going to get a home final, aren't they? At some stage.
Yes.
You can't have 11,000 people.
What happened last year? What did we do last year?
What did we do last year?
I'm pretty sure they moved it to the stadium. They did. They moved it to Allianz.
And who'd they play that first game?
Was it
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Yeah, that's right. The Cowboys had no fans.
Yes.
That's right. Sharks barely did either.
Yeah.
That was 19,000 there.
That was the whole thing about
Yeah,
they don't travel, remember?
They
That's
should
right.
have moved it to Cogra.
But there was 19,000. No, Allianz.
Okay. All right. Sharkies fans, what do you think?
Stadium we've got.
People are bullish, so the pressure's on the Sharkies, but they're a very, very consistent team. Adam Fanua-Blake comes in, so they could expect bright skies, that is for sure.
You're still here? We'll see more on the Joel and Fletch socials and catch us live on SEN Radio. Because if you don't, you're an A grade, but if you do, you're the absolute Mickey.